United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and recess our meeting to go ahead and have the public hearing for the tentative Fratco tax abatement. I'll turn it over to Mr. Order and
Thank you, Ken. Before we go into public comment, I will ask Fratco COO Bill Champion to speak briefly again on the project, and then I'm following the public comment. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Thanks again for your time and consideration. Basically, we're adding a new line.
We good? Okay. A new line at our plant. It's about a $2 million expenditure for us. Allows us to hire 6 additional employees, and it's a high-speed line, makes us more productive, and really that's about all I got. Any questions you have for me, I'd be glad to answer.
What kind of investment is it?
It's $2 million, just over $2 million, and that's everything: extruders, corrugators, online equipment, and it's a high-speed line. It's the second one in the country. Major, real upgrade for us. Helps us.
Notice is hereby given that the Pulaski County Council on the 9th of October 2023 adopted preliminary resolution 2023-16 designating as an economic vitalization area for a period lasting as long as industrial uses occur on the parcel, an area of land in White Post Civil Township commonly described as parcel 660533 300.013.000.018, comprising 5 acres more or less, subject to all roadways, and known as the production facility of Fratco Inc. Following, aforesaid ERA has been established for the purpose of achieving assessed value deduction, property tax abatement in connection with redevelopment or rehabilitation activities and the installation of new manufacturing equipment on the property. Additionally, Fratco is applying for a waiver of noncompliance to include previously acquired equipment in the abatement request pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-11.3. Following the hearing, the County Council may take final action regarding the findings of the preliminary resolution and the waiver of noncompliance resolution, neither award or deny property tax benefit as requested by Fratco Inc. and described in a statement of benefits. Council may now open the hearing for public comment.
okay, we'll open the hearing to public comment. Any comment from the public?
What's the length of the ERA period?
The ERA period is the ERA designation, if the resolution is approved, will be in place for as long as the parcel is used for industrial purposes. Yes.
Any other public comment? Okay, if there's no further public comment, we will go back into our normally scheduled meeting, reconvene, and have discussion on approving or disapproving the waiver of noncompliance and the ERA abatement approval as presented resolution. Nathan Order, back to you.
So the first resolution you have is 2023-19, waiving noncompliance. If adopted, it would grant Fratco the waiver of noncompliance, which would allow them to request the abatement on the previously installed equipment that Mr. Champion just discussed. If you do not pass this resolution, then the abatement cannot be granted. You'll still be able to establish an ERA for future requests. If you do pass it, then you can grant the abatement as well as designating the parcel as it. So technically, it is a 9-year scale because of the waiver of noncompliance. So instead of 190, 80, 70, 60, 50, it'd be 90, 80, 70, 60, 50.
How many additional employees?
6.
If you look in the packet I provided, I think it would be the back of the second page, you will see they're looking at creating 6 positions with cumulative salaries of $249,600.
It's gonna be in the same building, Bill, or?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Since you're asking for the abatement really a year later, the equipment is already installed and operational, correct?
Yeah, that was my error.
Yeah.
I just didn't file for it.
Right, so you have the 6 employees and,
Yes.
okay,
And actually, we have more than 6, but conservatively, it's 6. You never know how long.
right.
Looks like you got a lot now, but it's parking lot.
Fortunately, we're better than we were.
Yeah, looks like you're doing good for employees. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve both the waiver of noncompliance and the ERA abatement approval. Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
That is all I have on Fratco then. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We
Thank
really
you for Mr.
appreciate it.
Champion. We
Thanks so
appreciate
much.
you and what your company's doing for our community.
Thank you. Yeah.
Then I will go ahead and provide a couple of quick updates on the courthouse project. We received and opened bids on last Monday, the 6th of November. Currently working with Luminat, our architects, and Ton and Blank to review the bids, some potential adjustments to the project plans, and incoming feedback from subcontractors before Ton and Blank officially awards some of the categories outright, awards some with project scope modifications, and puts others out for rebid. Because a number of line items in the budget are percentages based on the bids, like the contingency, insurance, bond, et cetera. And because there are some lines in the non-construction part, IT, our contingency, mover, those things where there is some flexibility. It's not easy to give you a direct number at this point, but we do know that the bids came over where we need them to be. To that end, I've got a call with the architect tomorrow, and then he and I have a call with Ton and Blank on Wednesday. We've already had one conversation, looked at some options, and we are confident that adjustments to the scope and rebidding will get us to where we need to be. I'm hoping that after those calls, I'll have a clear picture to present to the commissioners on Monday. And after I have made that presentation to the commissioners, I will update the council so that you are kept apprised of that process. In the meantime, we're on schedule to move offices on Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then on the Monday and Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And then you'll see that I've got a couple of fund transfers and one last additional appropriation request in to meet all of the calendar year financial obligations. And making those requests for 2 reasons. We don't know the exact effect on the timeline yet, but we may have to push back the bond issuance because of rebidding. Even if that is not the case, if we want to hire a local bank as the trustee for this bond, we're going to have to get this. We're not going to be able to get the funds deposited in time to be able to allow that, just because they are not what is called fast eligible. And so the actual process of getting the physical bonds to the depository takes longer with a bank like First National Bank of Monterey, who have expressed interest and given us a proposal that is very competitive. So if we want to be able to keep that responsibility local, then I need to be able to pay some of these bills earlier than if we weren't keeping them. So we can get into that in a little bit more, but I just wanted to give you an idea as to why. But we've got one more request on this. That's all I've got until you get to that point in the agenda. Unless you have any questions right now about the courthouse.
Any questions for Mr. Orger on the courthouse and projects going? All right, we have everybody should have seen the list of transfers that the auditor's office sent out. Quite a healthy list, so I sent it with instead of putting each one of them down and wasting as much paper. Any questions on them? I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfers as presented. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passed. Okay. And now we're down to the additionals that need advertised. CDC had, originally it was the 47,000, but, was requested to be moved up pending the fact that there's, more expenditures, that are there than what the 47,000 cover. Then the prosecutor has $5,000, to equipment. Then we have the two additionals that were advertised, 10,000 from CARES Act to contracted services, $10,750 to condenser coil for, from misdemeanor fund, and then $7,550 share and pension fund correction. Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion to accept, amend, change.
I'll make a motion to approve the additionals as advertised and the additionals
All-
as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve both the needed to be advertised and the advertised additionals as presented. Second.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes. Apparently I didn't remove that. The October 9th minutes will be presented at our December meeting. They were not ready for approval. We had some things that are kind of some touch-ups from some discussions from past meetings. One of them was discussion about board meeting and pays and responsibilities of attending. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to mull that over and have any ideas on that. If so, more than willing to listen to them. I mean, I think the main scope of it was to try and make all the board pays be across the board, with the exception of the clerk's election board, which has already been approved. And then the responsibilities of attending, as to some boards now, you don't attend, you get paid. Some do attend, you only get paid. So trying to make some standardization so the auditor's office doesn't have to fight that nearly so hard figuring out. So nobody has any ideas on that. We need to be putting some time and some thought into that, resolve that for the auditor's office. The matrix, or the salary adjustments that have been presented, I sent everybody out a package that was worked up with the help of the CDC department and all on wage adjustments for the county employees outside of the sheriff's department and the county highway, which have already been addressed earlier in the year. So is there any, that needs to get passed so our employees know, or turned down one way or another. Decision needs to be made on that, I think, just to let our employees know and our department heads know what the future of next year is going to look like. Employees. I know a lot of work went into this. A lot of time was spent on it. I did go out to all the department heads, as I put in the email. There were some questions and concerns. We tried to address most of them that we could, the best that we could, staying in the scope of how we set up the salary ordinance / matrix for the other departments and all. So I think overall it was received well. Sure, there's going to be, everybody sees things differently. There could be some that maybe thought it should have been a little more one way or another, but I think this will do a big justice to our employees in trying to get some of their wages corrected to where they're competitive in the marketplace. It also will help our department heads be able to retain employees and recruit new employees when needed. So I'd really like to see this, like I said, either passed or more discussion, because we need to get this solved for our county.
Well, I'm good with what was presented there, Kenny. I thought it did what we asked that, we wanted to get the people that weren't up to what we found with our survey of the other counties, and I think it did that. My only question is what we want to do for cost of living.
That was going to be my next part if we, of discussion.
It's been out there long enough, I think everybody should have seen it. If there's questions that should be able to get an answer tonight, I would think, move forward or find out what the problems are, try to fix them.
I personally think 5%.
And
Personally, with the raise, I would rather see 3.
well, while we're mulling over the percentages,
Are we on the same page with that?
well,
Forward with the,
well, that's what I'll say. I want to get into that discussion because we need to solve, that's on the list to get solved too. But I'll ask, we kind of look at the pay adjustments first, and if I can get a motion to either pass or decline on that, we'll move forward with that part, then we'll go into
I'll make that motion you're talking about.
on the,
We'll have a discussion about the wrong.
yes. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, I have a motion and a second on the wage adjustments as presented. Any further discussion?
What's the cost of living and longevity and meeting pay? And I think we ought to do it all at once. Yeah. That's just me.
I have a motion right now and a second on the floor
We
on,
asked for discussion.
right, no,
Mike, to answer part of that question, trying to figure out a fair number for all of the different commissions with different responsibilities, that was way beyond what we could take on in this. I think once you settle on these numbers, whether as is or with adjustments, that cost of living becomes, a very simple follow-up. When we first put this stuff together, we were looking at about a $600,000 increase, which came in really close with the increase in income tax revenue for next year. Highway, but some of that I think CARES is going to cover. And with some of the positions that were discussed as potentially going to full-time that aren't going to go to full-time, some grant funding in the health department, I don't have an exact number, but it's under that. It has come down from that 600 figure for just this.
all right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. And yes, we will address the cost of living here next, hopefully. So
And that wage adjustment goes into effect
January 1st, as presented, yes. So all those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, passes. All right, now, as we said, the cost of living increase. We've heard 3%, we've heard 5%. Any other ideas, questions, discussion on that?
I kind of feel like though for the first year, we can always adjust that. This is in stone for future.
Right.
It'll be addressed every year. I really feel that's fair. Can't remember.
Especially when we just gave the big wage adjustment, that was a lot.
Yeah, and the cost of living, just so everybody in the audience knows, that the wage adjustment varied depending upon where people were in the regional average. Cost of living is an increase that goes out to every employee in the county. That's straight across the board to everybody. We don't have a call in that part.
Including part-time.
Yes. Across the board, to all employees. But I've been told by our council. Anybody else have any other discussion on that?
Make a motion for 3% cost of living.
All right, we have a motion for 3%. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes. Any other discussion on wages, cost of living, longevity, meeting pay?
I don't think you should get paid if you don't go to the meetings like that.
Fully agree.
We don't get paid to go to our meeting at Monticello at all, but we also get mileage there. You don't show up, you don't get your mileage, which doesn't amount to nothing, but you get carrots and cookies. That's how they get you there.
No, I agree. I mean, if you're going to sit on a board and you're going to have the right responsibility, you need to be a participating member. If you're not going to come to the meetings, then you're not a participating member. I understand there's some awkward times where somebody might be sick or have something else. Well, I don't think anybody that's going to these boards, the pay is what they're going for to begin with. I don't think, so if it's, $75 a meeting or $100 a meeting, if they lose $100 because they don't show up, even if it is a legitimate thing, they were sick or whatever, I don't think that's going to make or break it. I think it'd be very difficult if you started going, well, if you call in, you get it. If you don't call in, you don't get it. And if you're sick, you don't. Simpler to say, you're there, you get it. You're not there, you don't. Across the board.
So who's gonna keep track of that?
That's the trouble right there. The auditor's office, now they're gonna have to go get minutes for the board, minutes for the.
Well, I think though, if I understand it right, whoever the president, or in my opinion, whoever the leader is of the board, the president of the board, should be turning in some kind of documentation to get paid. I believe do they turn in a claim to get paid or? But if they don't, then I would think that falls on that person's responsibility to take roll call, and they got the minutes to back up. They said these 6 people were there and that 2 people weren't. The minutes are going to reflect that. So it wouldn't be like they're going to be able to lie about it.
No, but they get paid by claims, and I don't know
Right.
when the meetings are, so I don't know if everybody's getting paid or not.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. I know that it's back and forth now. Some do and some
Yeah.
don't. But yeah, I would think, like I said, they'd have to turn in a claim to get paid. So it's paid off of that. I don't think it would be, from what I've talked to Laura, no,
So
I
the
think it
board
would
head
be
would
easy.
want to turn in the claim anyways.
Right.
You get paid for the courtesy.
We get mileage.
I live the closest with everybody there.
Chuck Mellon might have you beat.
Yeah, he does. When that thing was, he can stop it.
Okay, I'll make a motion that you have to attend the meeting to get paid, and I don't know what people get paid on all these boards. Do you have, I'm assuming you don't know. I don't know.
I think most of them, or at least a lot of them, some weird number like $52 and some odd cents. That was a concern Laura had raised, that percentage rate when that's applied to boards and commissions, that works out to some really weird numbers for those. You know, for everyone else, it's salary or hourly, but for people who are working on board commissions, it comes out to weird numbers.
I think whenever the pay to members on the board works out to all kinds of different, I mean, there's all different.
Oh, yeah.
Set wages. I mean, some, I think I've heard as high as $100 on some, and I've heard, as low as like, $40 on others. I mean, I think it's all over the place, so.
I think that was part of Laura's.
Right,
Trying to make it easy to get one kind of across the
Right.
board for all of them.
now is, like the mileage, is that set by the board to pay that, or,
I think I don't know that we pay mileage or many of for boards since we're paying attendance. Something like Curbsy adopts annual
Yeah.
mileage for itself, but Plan Commission or the CDC, I don't think we've ever paid mileage for that sort of thing because they're getting paid a per diem.
right, okay, yeah, that's what I was trying, it sounds like, I knew when I was on the Curbsy board that, yeah, we got paid mileage and all back then, but yeah, that was all set through Curbsy. Understood, it wasn't for the,
Solid waste district set through White County. Of course, federal mileage or state mileage, probably it's one of those.
Okay, I'll rephrase my motion. I make a motion that they have to attend in whatever the average is of all these boards. So somebody would have to figure it out. The low end, the high end, get the average and round it to the nearest whole number.
For all boards?
Yes.
okay. We have a motion, do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion?
I got discussion.
You're on.
Okay, this is the only problem that I think is, I don't know what like Peter Bow board gets. It seems like that's like pretty hefty one.
Which one?
The Peter Bow board, I think it might be hefty as far as how much they get paid.
Right now, the PETA gets $118.30 per meeting.
What does drainage board get? 65?
Find the surveyor's office and I will tell you. $65.17 per meeting.
And what does the health department board get? One of them seems like it's too.
They get paid annually regardless of the number of meetings they schedule. They get this year $474.20. It's messy.
And I guess I would, and I'm gonna put the clerk on cue for just a second here. We just changed the rate for the, election board, didn't we, to like $150 or something like that?
No, we get paid set amounts biannually for each election, but you and I have had this conversation, I've had this conversation with several of you. We don't get paid to run the election. There's no overtime line item for all the hours we put in getting ready for an election. On election day, the poll workers get paid a certain amount. We don't. We get paid to sit on the election board. So that's why the election board pay is larger, it's different.
No, thank you. I knew that, but I was gonna let you lay that out because you do it in a much clearer way than I do. And I,
Everyone gets paid through payroll.
right. And so that one there, that was gonna be my next thing. I would not be, as discussion, I wouldn't be, I'm not in disagreement with what Sheila just proposed, but I would ask that if we look at boards and we consider that one, I would ask that it would be excluded because it's handled completely differently than drainage board, CDC board, all the other boards. So I would not want that to be considered part of.
I don't know if some of these are just how it's always been done or if some of them are statutorily set up that way, but this might require some checking into the code to see if some of them are supposed to be paid annually or per diem before you take any action. Because Board of Aviation Commissioners, $635.92 a year. So you got health board, airport board that are paid annually. You got some are paid biannually. You got some paid for showing up to a meeting. Statutory council and commissioners, you get salary, so you can't deny yourself pay if you miss a meeting. It's a salary, not a per diem.
Yeah,
It's messy.
I think so, so I guess I will ask you to table your, yeah, then, yeah, we need to, understand, because I mean, there's a few that will probably need to be excluded and, at the moment. More research needs to be done at the moment. Yeah, at the moment.
That does need to get.
Yes, I agree.
I was thinking that we talked earlier, $75, then it's like, because they don't like it. Everyone's different.
But we would, like I said, if you consider, I'm not sure that I would consider ours meetings because, in the concept of ours as a commissioners in the council, because we are salaried. We fall under a different purview.
Right,
So, but the,
we're all on the board, so.
yeah, So-
Are any of the other boards salary? The health department.
I guess it's some.
Right.
Department, Board of Aviation Commissioners.
salaries, so how do they fall in? Yeah,
And I don't know if the state code says airport board members are salaried, health board members are salaried, planning commission or redevelopment commission are per diem. Different rules for different boards and commissions.
I'm gonna ask, is there a council member that would like to take this task on? I know our CDC director is quite busy with doing lots of other stuff with the courthouse. Would somebody like to see if they can find the answers to these questions and solve it? Thank you, Sheila. We appreciate it. All right, moving forward, just a note, additional requests must be made by the November 14th meeting, which was today, so no additionals will be entertained because we can't get them advertised and put up before the end of the year. So this was the last day for any additionals. Transfers can still be completed till December 11th, approved. So we're to public comment. Any comments?
So you guys weren't here last week, but we approved the vehicles for not last week, last time, for the coroner, surveyor, and building inspector. But in their budgets, they allotted for brand new vehicles. I feel like we just spent a lot of money on raises, cost of living, and for vehicles that aren't getting used on a daily basis. Do they need brand new vehicles? That's quite a bit of money. Is that what we want to do? Spend $55,000 on 3 vehicles? Roughly?
More than 65 times 3.
Yeah.
Let's say 50 times 3.
I mean, I'm not opposed to getting them the vehicles. I know, like, Jenny for sure needs a truck. But does it have to be a brand new truck?
One of my thoughts was, after some conversations we had, we always, well, I guess I got 2 questions. First, I'm gonna put the sheriff on the spot. Got the clerk earlier, I'll ask the sheriff. There's no longer any more pools for buying vehicles. We used to like buy the trucks and stuff through through
There's no discounts on the.
discounts or whatever, yeah.
There's no discounts if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
We used to buy a $45,000 truck for $26,000.
Right.
Dodge did away with that. I've been trying to check into some other deals. Now the state's are switching to Durango to see if I can get it. We just ordered ours, but those was from the dealership with no discounts. You're paying up for them right now. You have no choice.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the things that I wanted to point out. I'm sure Mr. Richwine could have probably answered or added into that question as well, but, before we bought vehicles at quite a substantial discount, which now we're not doing it. So I can make it a lot easier to say, if I'm gonna pay $26,000 for a truck, why buy a used one, buy a brand new one and give it, because the cost is way down. now I'm not sure what the cost of used vehicles are, but we always think about our new car dealerships in town. I know we have, Fred Allen's down there. We have, possibly some other options that could possibly find us or put us into, very good used vehicles at times if they will work for what we need and maybe get a reduced price. Thoughts from anybody?
I think we ought to look into, seems like the town of Dairy bought that one pickup of theirs for, I can't remember where they got that, but it was like, we don't always commissioners, we'd always have the guys up there throwing a fit because we wouldn't buy it local. It's like, you can't buy it local, it's $20,000 cheaper.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it isn't.
We throw a fit. It's like,
Because when we were buying through the pool and we were getting that big discount, most of them were not local, were they? Or were we still buying local and get the discount from Dodge? They were?
That was a Dodge dealer.
Okay, I didn't know if any dealership could do it, because wasn't there at some point in time we were buying them from down like in Indianapolis or up north someplace, there was a,
it's like war or something.
yeah, I know there was,
There's places like that, right over Fort Wayne, they give us some deals on, they would send out stuff like Mike's talking about, I'm sure to all the sheriffs saying, we've got this, this, and this for this product.
It seems like it's like Andy Moore or something.
that might have been.
Yeah, it was like state bid or something.
Yeah, it seems like there, I remember that. And I do know that now, dealing in the automotive industry or doing work in it and looking to replace my wife's car just recently. I was looking this week and I know the days, talking to some of the dealerships and people that I know in the industry, days of getting big rebates, going in there and saying, hey, we'll give you $4,000 off by are going away, because used to they would, as I was explaining to one person, used to the idea was that GM would just make 1 million cars and then try and figure out how to sell 1 million cars. Well, now they make 100,000 now. Then they see what the sales are and make another 100,000, keep trying. So they're not over manufacturing and then trying to give all kinds of rebates to get rid of them. They're making more what they need, but the rebates are going away and all the sales. You want the car, you pay for it. If you don't want the car, go someplace else and, do what you want to do. So I think it may be tougher to get them deals like you guys were seeing before. Love to see it come back for government because.
Can we look into it?
I-
See if we can find where they're getting at?
Yeah, I would definitely say, yeah. I mean, any way that we can, not,
Ask around if you want me to, because I think like, it's a lot of money if you can't. I mean, like, look there and ask me.
okay, all right, perfect.
That's where they're getting theirs.
Does that satisfy your question, Sheila?
Yeah, so we're gonna wait and see.
Yeah.
Mike's gonna do a little.
I don't know how good they can figure it out.
Well, as the elected official and department heads know, just something for us to remember is just because something's in the budget for one price, we always have, they are always supposed to go in front of the commissioners if it's over a certain dollar amount to get approval for expenditure too. So it should help. Hopefully they're working, we are, to try and make that money go as far as possible. Any other board comments or board reports?
Well, the solid waste district has a new director, because Mindy went to bank. Camden, I think, or something like that. So we got a new one. She was the old solid waste director in Carroll County. She seems like she knows a lot of stuff, knows the claim system, all that. I went to the first meeting with her just the other day. And clear goes, you know, parish, we're well represented there in Pulaski County. And then courtesy board, I have a hard time, I think is the guru on that. But they're having a, hard time getting bus drivers. Like, not just Pulaski County, for, you know, Head Start, Council on Aging, I have a hard time keeping. Yeah, because they did have CDL. Now they're trying to buy vehicles that aren't CDL, you know, so they can,
Right.
you know, they can get smaller vans and stuff, so they can get people driving. And then they have vans that they have the back ordered for, you know, 2 or 3 years, and they're not getting 2 years at least. But, you know, like their 2023 came in, but their when they ordered for 2022 hasn't came in yet. So it's just a cluster there. It'll all work out. That's all I got.
Anything else? All right, we will open it up to public comment. Any comment from the public? Yes.
Just a point of clarification, I apologize, I could not find a list of transfers anywhere, and I wanted to make sure that our Superior Court transfers were on there.
Hey, just give me a second. I know the ones that I was provided with, there were some on there, but I can tell you exactly what they are.
I can tell you what ours are, just to make sure.
Yeah, give me a second here for Slowpoke to get wound up, and then I'll. There were transfers? I don't either.
I didn't see any numbers I received, you know.
No.
We spent on 11-1 to auditor's office and then to Ken.
They're not like something under Road 3 community, be under Superior Court, right? There's one of them that's ran from Road 3. That's the emails I got. That one's from Laura.
Said it was on the first.
That's right. It would be from Abby copy to me, you, and the auditor's office.
I thought I had seen them, and I started putting all the additionals on the document. Unfortunately, I'll have to change that in my processes. I didn't take, since there were so many of them, like 3 pages of stuff. So when the list came, I didn't validate that list against anything else, and that's my fault. So apparently they're not on the list from the auditor's office, but I did get your, so.
And these are transfers, not additional. Can we still get that?
Yeah.
Taken care of them today?
yeah, as far as I know, yeah, we can go ahead and add them to the additional list and pass them down. You sent the information plenty of time, or transfers, excuse me. So I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend our, approval of transfers and add the transfers that Superior Court are requesting to the list of transfers.
What were they?
Witness fees, from witness fees to interpreters of $300, from witness fees to transcripts and positions of $1,200 for indigent appeal transcripts, and then $250 from reporter supplies to overtime for jury trials. And then we have interpreter fees for the next couple of months to get us through the end of the year.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Did you get the highways transfers?
Well, let me finish this one, then I'll jump right back to you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those approved, say aye. Opposed? All right, passes. No, I have them.
I see, because you had like 20,000 for stone.
Two of them. We got it.
Yeah.
We got it. Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you what, just give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna read down so everybody knows what's on here. There is an additional for drug-free council and commissioners. That was the first page that we were given. Then there was county general coroner. There was county general surveyor, county general extension. There was county general EMA, county motor vehicle highway general and undisc EXP. There was MBH restricted and maintenance repairs, economic development, CDC. And that was all that are on the list.
There's an email, I'm trying to pull it up, Chris, I think it was an email from, there's one from Laura, Carrie, and Ken. This one is a transfer for Motorola
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
I've got a copy of it, and it went to you, Ken.
Yeah,
Or,
like I said, and I remember that one as well. Unfortunately, yeah, that's fine. I didn't take what was read from one side and put it against the other, so.
Here's building repair, right? Sure.
Yeah.
that's additional. This one looks,
Yeah.
it says something Motorola on mine.
Yeah. Yep, so we need to add that one. No, to the, transfers. Yeah. And actually, believe it or not, this is really gonna sound bad. I had both the sheriff's and superior courts on my original copy. And then when I seen the long list, I took your guys' off and just amended it to that. And them are the two that are on here. Yeah,
Hey, did you guys hear the highway got, what, $502,000
yeah, that's for an addition.
for a grant? I did. Yeah, community creation grant. I heard on the radio.
Okay.
On Facebook, for you to congratulate.
Yeah, well, they, and you know, that's pretty good because I don't think any other counties, Monticello, I don't got $1 million, but as far as the other counties, what did
They got the 2023-1. They have two calls. They have a January call and they have a July call for projects. We went for the July call.
Okay,
Come January, we're gonna go for the big call to the bridge.
okay, because they had, I think Benton County got some, I was listening to the Rensselaer radio and it was, I think Benton County's the only one in Monticello, you guys, there were some towns got some,
I'll,
only two counties.
Since we have the sheriffs here and I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the transfers as the sheriff presented for the, everybody hear what his transfer was for and all? Repeat it. So, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the sheriff's transfers as presented.
So moved.
We have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? I apologize for that oversight. Just glad that, yeah, we got it caught while we were sitting here. All right, if there's no further board reports or public comment, I'll let the clerk go first, yes.
I want to thank the board and Nathan for all the work that you put into the case study and the increase that we are getting next year. Very, very much appreciated.
Thank you. I hope it helps all the department heads and elected officials going forward, and most definitely hope it helps the employees as well and for Christmas ventures and so forth coming. Well, that'll be next year, so they can feel good to spend extra this year.
Just so you know, I have employees texting me saying thank you. It's much appreciated.
Oh, perfect. Oh, good for them. Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate what they both said. Our guys all greatly appreciate it. The only thing, and I talked to Nathan a little bit, I'm still a couple short, and I got, my part-time help was like $15. And I got a guy that's willing to come in and plow snow for me for $15. And I talked to Nathan, and somebody else said they're working on trying to get the part-time rate up. Man, I just hate to ask. I feel pretty bad. Here he is out risking plowing snow because I don't have anybody else. I got 4 new guys, so the public's gonna have to be a little more patient this year. Never had a snow plow.
No, and we appreciate that. And yeah, just I guess to bring a note up on that in discussions that we've had today and over the past few weeks with different members of the council and all, that is like phase 3. That is, in my opinion, that's the next phase. It's definitely the next step moving forward to figure out how to, because before we always did it with this blanket coverage, and I think we need to step away from that and look at people's responsibilities, even as part-time. Every department's responsibilities is not the same. And it's not like we have one part-time group that we move everywhere. So each department has people. So, if a gentleman or lady has a CDL, they may be required more. Somebody comes in that helps with clerical work or something, whatever, and is needed, that person's responsibility, everything needs to be based off of what the skill level and the work expectation is, then it's just everybody gets this pay.
Thank you again, appreciate it. All of it.
I'm glad you guys caught everybody up. Jeff, have you ever been able to tell everybody that you've been told in your tenure? I can't. All the deputies, all the dispatchers, now I have waiting in line as jailers. I lost one Friday, went to another job, and I had 3 people on that job. You guys don't know how much that means to me. You guys know it's a very dangerous job, but that pay raise helped tremendously. I get thanked all the time. They thank you guys all the time for all the work you did, and I really appreciate you guys helping these people out here too. You guys have shown that that's important to you, and I know we all appreciate it. I don't want to be left out because I tell them like all the time. It wasn't me, it was you guys. So thank you. I appreciate that. And the employees do too. So, all right. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
All right, anything else? We will adjourn our meeting for 11/13/2023. If there's anything that we need to make sure we sign our paperwork, the